Goals, resolutions, good intentions, vows to change a bad habit, we all make them, but more often than not, we don't manage to achieve what we wanted to. Now, why is this? Why are we so bad at getting what we think we want? Well, to change a habit, you have to make more decisions that benefit your long-term goal and less that give you short-term pleasure. This is so hard to do, however, because we are often so focused on the short-term pleasure. And the sad truth is that your brain can't always be relied on to make the right choices. In fact, more often than not, it's going to take you in the wrong direction by focusing on what's going on and what's going to give you immediate pleasure rather than helping you remember your long-term goals. Now, you know how it goes. You might be sitting up late one night, stuck in a feeling of sadness and maybe loneliness, and the websites that you vowed not to visit again seem to call out to you. Or maybe you're dealing with the 20th poopy diaper of the day and another screaming kid's hanging off your back, and this rage boils under the surface, begging to be released in a way that you do not want to. Or you might overhear a juicy conversation in the cubicle next to you, and the phone next to you seems to leap into your hand as you can share the unbelievable news with somebody else, gossiping about things. Or maybe you might walk past the overflowing garbage can for the 12th time, and resentment begins to creep into your soul. Why won't these others just take the garbage out? These are temptations. We all have them, and we all know that we have them, and we all know that we often give in to them, and yet we try to ignore them, or maybe just justify them as natural. Now, temptation, says Thomas à Kempis in the book The Imitation of Christ, is an inevitable part of life. It's just going to happen. So long as we live in this world, he says, we cannot escape suffering and temptation. Whence it is written in Job, the life of man upon the earth is a warfare. But it is only through temptation that we become strengthened and disciplined people. We don't overcome temptations by running from them, we overcome them by slowly rooting them out of our souls. Thomas à Kempis says this, in temptations and trials, the progress of humanity is measured. In them, opportunity for merit and virtue is made more manifest. When a man is not troubled, it is not hard for him to be fervent and devout, but if he bears up patiently in time of adversity, then there is hope for great progress. Little by little, in patience and long-suffering, you will overcome them by the help of God rather than the severity and your own rash ways. So Thomas à Kempis seems to say that we don't break the power of temptation so much as we get strong enough to resist it. And that strengthening usually doesn't happen in the moment, but it happens in times like you're training in a gym. So maybe here are a couple of things that can help you train so you can be stronger in the moment. First, you need to be honest about your temptation and your struggles, both with yourself and with others. Don't try to do this alone. There's a reason why the first step in a 12-step program for addiction is admitting we are powerless over the addiction. When we're honest about it, then we can deal with it and God can begin to heal us, but we need to be honest about it and have others help us along the road. Okay, so second, then you also need to remind yourself why you might want to change the habit and to build a strong argument for this. It is important for you to know why you should avoid the temptation you're struggling with, but also that you should be convinced that you should avoid it. Too often we create an argument that doesn't really convince ourselves, and then it's not strong enough to help us avoid it. So create an argument that is strong enough to help you know why you want to resist. Now, third, you need to figure out when you are most susceptible to give in to the temptation and to try to avoid those triggers. Now, this isn't rocket science here. If alcohol is my weakness, then I can make a choice not to hang out with certain friends who drink a lot, or with friends who pressure me to drink. I can also decide to stay away from places that serve alcohol. Or maybe if sugar is my weakness, I can decide not to buy sweets from my pantry. Or if overspending is my weakness, I can choose to cut up my credit cards and pay with cash instead, and only use the cash that I have set aside to do so. Now, fourth, and maybe most important, this seems so simple for us, but it's important for us to ask God for help. The power that we really need to grow into the person that we really want to be anyway comes from God, not from within. If we had the power to do it ourselves, we probably would have done it already. But God will help you through if you lean on Him and ask for Him to guide you through and to help break the power of whatever it is that's controlling you. So if you are wrestling with a bad habit that you want to change, or with the temptation from something maybe you had overcome long ago, remember that it is often a long-term battle that is only overcome through patient, small steps, empowered by the Holy Spirit. And also remember that any time you do withstand the temptation, even a little bit, you become a little bit stronger.